Several inmates electrocuted at Ikoyi prison. An electric power accident has been reported at the Ikoyi Correctional Facility in Lagos. Several inmates, actually 5 of them, were said to have been killed and others injured when electric cables at the prison went up in flames late yesterday morning. Francis Enobore, who is chief spokesperson for the Nigerian Correctional Service, confirmed the accident, but said details were still being gathered before appropriate information about the accident could be passed to the public. Of course, we all know Ikoyi Prisons is one of Nigeria's oldest and largest correctional facility, holding thousands of inmates. You know, when we have inmates being incarcerated, isn't that bad enough? But when you have them, their lives being threatened, you know, like this, what does that really mean?
Well, it still calls to question the role of leadership and actually the need and the basis for incarcerating people. Why do we have to separate some people to say they shouldn't be part of the public? Now, it's not to kill them.
Okay.
It's actually to refine them and bring them back to the society. But the facility at which you are going to hold them, you know, incarcerated must be as
safe,
good as where they, at least, what you are just doing is isolating them from the society, not putting them in a demeaning environment, a less, better environment. I was at that Ikoyi prison earlier in the year. We're looking at how to partner with them to see if we can extend construction training skills to these inmates so that they can begin to acquire skills while being incarcerated. By the time they come out, they become really, really valuable. These were discussions we had, and seeing that facility when I went there, I had pity for these people. This facility is in a deplorable state. The roof, the structure itself. So we need to be talking.
Not to mention that it's overpopulated.
It's overpopulated. So I really, really hope that the Minister of Interior is actually listening to this. The whole prison services facility in Nigeria needs a total overhaul. We need to have better facilities, because if you are saying that you want these people to be better by the time they come out, it's a mental issue. What is the environment where you are treating, you are holding them? What sort of treatment are they being subjected to? By the time they come out, they are affected. They come out with the effects of that environment, and it's difficult for them to be refined. You can't do that. You cannot put somebody in a deplorable state where they are begging to even survive, and you are saying that you are refining them. You are not doing any refinement.
And then their lives are threatened. On top of that, you know. 5 people electrocuted. A horrible way to die. Prince Chilaka.
A cell that is meant for 35 inmates has 140 inmates. The question is, how did the electricity issue get to that point? What brought it in? What happened that it has gotten to the point that people are now being electrocuted? In other words, what we are saying is that our correctional institute is actually a dungeon. Once you're in there, the chances of coming out alive
slim.
You know, yes, Ikoyi prisons I know very well because my foundation goes there. We used to go there a lot to partner with them to do a lot of things. But the problem is, like I said some time ago on this program, it is one thing to change the name of an institution. It's also another thing to change the outlook,
the workings of that institution. Okay.
You change it from prisons to correctional facilities. Have you changed anything within the structure of that prison?
Have you retrained
your
staff?
Nothing has been done. So it's just a change of name, you know, and that is all. Nomenclature, nothing else. So it's unfortunate that people who ordinarily were kept there to be reformed are now dead. And I would say that I didn't like the position of the CG. You know, his statement is very, very, how do I put it? It's not what somebody in his capacity should be saying. Sometimes people in government make comments that are very insensitive. And especially when human lives are involved, we must apply some level of decency and decorum in addressing it. It comes back to government. Government needs to rethink, you know, what do they want to do in terms of the structures.
Okay.
And finally, it is very, very important that the judiciary begin to take steps to decongest our prisons. The number of people awaiting trial in all of our prisons is alarming.
Okay. All right, Mazi, how do you react to this?
Yeah, I beg to distance myself from referring it to correctional center. I think I better define it and refer it and address it as hell on earth. That prison, the totality of that prison was supposed to accommodate about 800 persons. But you go there, you find about 3,000 something there. I've not been to that place. I have a friend who goes there every Sunday to visit his brother. And he said that he's going to pay some money to have a particular room there. I don't know how much it's true. And he gets some treat, he cooks and things like that. But come to think about it, why do you now change it from prison to correctional? What are they correcting? These are the people that are supposed to go there and come and refined. But you see that they come out more hardened. It is in the same place they are taught how to be hardened, how to even wriggle them out themselves, even when they go to court. Some of them are waiting trials there. At numbers, the already convicted people. Then, before a fire, there must be smoke. Before that electricity now went off to burn 5 persons, it must have been given some signal signs and nobody attended to it. Because nobody goes there to check what is happening. My members of my church go to Area F for administration evangelism every Sunday. But you know why they stopped them? They said, while they were praising, and the people there in cell were busy breaking the wall to escape. So you see what our government is doing to these people is inhuman. How are they fed? Do you know, remember sometime the allocation meant for the prisoners have been diverted to somebody. And the welfare of the prisoners are not even nothing to that. It calls for your attention. How much is the life of average Nigeria, even when you are incarcerated?
When you are not incarcerated.
So it is. When you are not incarcerated, how much is the value of our life? Let alone when you are put into, you are meant to suffer. Of course, it calls for attention. We need a revival in this country. Nothing is working. So I don't want to hear that it's cell or you better define it as
what it is.
Hellfire.
Ikenna from Jos says, I'm short of words concerning Nigerian prisons and other government facilities. I pray in my next generation, God in his mercies will not create me to be a Nigerian. Nigeria have arrived of land of no return. God, please help. All right.
Let me just say this.
Go ahead, quickly.
You know that we're talking about 5 persons being electrocuted.
That's the official number.
Yes, and there are several others wounded. But, you know, first of all, it is the negligence of the prison officials. Let us say it the way it is. And secondly, what are we even looking at? We're looking at 220 votes that could easily have been switched off on the wall. So something else must have happened.
Must have triggered, what happened?
220 votes.
Obviously, there are line cables.
Yes, because we're talking about 220 votes. This is where we plug our phones to charge it. You know, and for it to kill 5 persons, there's more to it.
Okay. May the souls of the departed rest in peace.